I'd like to call to order the Town Farmington regular Town Council meeting at 7 o'clock this evening. Um, Bill, would you like to do the pledge for us?
Thank you, Brian. My pleasure. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have no presentations or recognitions at this moment, so we have nothing tonight. So, Mike, would you like to read the notification?
Legal notice, Town of Farmington, public hearing. A public hearing will be held on Tuesday, March 10th, 2026 at 7:05 p.m. in the Town Hall Annex Council Chambers, 1 Monteith Drive, Farmington, Connecticut 06032, on the Town Manager's 2026-2027 recommended budget, dated at Farmington, Connecticut, this 24th day of February 2026. Kathy A. Blonsky, Town Manager.
Thank you. Kathy, would you like to get us started?
Sure, thanks, Brian. Good evening. Tonight I present for your review the Town Manager's recommended budget for fiscal year 26-27. General Fund budget recommended spending areas. The General Fund budget includes recommended spending for the town, for the Farmington Public Schools, for debt service, and for capital improvements. The recommended budgets for the Public Safety Regional Dispatch Center, Westwoods Golf Course, recreation, and solid waste collection and disposal will also be discussed. Policy guidelines. When developing this budget, the Town Council's budget target, the town strategic plan, and capital improvement policy, along with long-term financial forecasting, were the primary policy guidelines taken into account. At the January 27, 2026 Town Council meeting, the Town Council reached consensus on a budget target in the range of 2.75% to 4.75% above current expenditures. Budget drivers. Overarching budget drivers this year include personnel cost, contractual services, and operating 2 new facilities, the 1928 Town Hall Building and the Westwoods Recreation Complex. Expenditure summary. The total recommended budget for fiscal year 26-27 is $142,579,394, which sees an increase of $5,813,962, or 4.25% above the current budget. I would like to point out the asterisk notated next to the percent change for town operations. This is due to the restructuring of the Public Safety Regional Dispatch Center, which will be funded as a special revenue fund. I will go into more detail on the restructuring in the next slide. Restructuring of the Regional Dispatch Center. Funds were transferred from the town's operating budget to a new special revenue fund for the Public Safety Regional Dispatch Center. Under this structure, the operating budget will fund $1,196,526 towards the Regional Dispatch Center, while the remaining expenditures will be supported through grant payments from the state of Connecticut and contractual payments from the towns of Avon and Burlington. This restructuring resulted in a $564,118 reduction in the town's operating budget. Beyond the positive financial impact, the formation of the Regional Dispatch Center has provided significant operational benefits. It has generated cost savings for the town of Farmington, expanded dispatch staffing capacity, enhanced technology through Avon State Core radio system, and improved coordination among police, fire, and EMS agencies. For comparison purposes, had the Regional Dispatch Center remained within the town's operating budget, the recommended operating budget increase would have been 4.34% over current expenditures rather than 2.79%. Town operations by category. I've separated the budget by category, which includes the areas of general administration, public safety, public works, community services, recreation services, and other. I am recommending a total budget of $37,458,588, an increase of $1,017,423, or 2.79% above current expenditures. The expenditure increases are due to several factors. Some areas to note. In general, this is a flat budget that has limited expansion of services. Overall, personnel costs townwide have increased due to the current job market, increased contractual obligations, and an effort to attract and retain employees. The Registrar of Voters account has increased due to the governor's election in November and reflects new salary levels for the registrars. The Personnel Services account covers salary adjustments for non-unionized employees. This account has decreased as of all unionized employees have collective bargaining agreements in place for next year. The contractual increases are shown in the full-time personnel accounts in each department. The public buildings, the 1928 Town Hall account has increased significantly. As of only 4 months of expenditures to operate and maintain the new town hall were included in last year's budget. The contribution to the Farmington Library is $3,150,049, which is a 3% increase above current budget levels. Utility accounts had an overall increase of 4.69%. The full-time account in the fire operations budget, which includes a promotional position, supervisory firefighter, which was a result of the Department of Public Safety restructuring. This budget does not include funding for seasonal help in the police department. This has been funded through a grant the past 2 years, and we are hopeful these grant funds will continue. The police fleet account funds 2 new 24-hour patrol vehicles. This is a continuation of the police department's fleet replacement program. The calls for service in the fire department have increased, resulting in higher contractual payments to the volunteer departments. The recreation services account has been increased as line items associated with the administration of recreation services were transferred in from the recreation fund. Additionally, accounts were added for the operation of the splash pad and pickleball courts at the Westwoods Recreation Complex. High priority items excluded from the 26-27 budget. In an effort to be within the budget target range, I had to prioritize the needs of the town. As a result, there are needs that are not addressed in this budget. I've identified and prioritized these needs below for town council consideration. Personnel. There are no new full-time positions in this budget. The Highway and Grounds Department, the Police Department, and the Recreation Department had requested additional personnel. A highway maintainer, a police officer, recreation, a part-time clerical position. Strategic plan initiatives, funding for a town-wide sidewalk survey, and for updates updates to the town website are not included in this budget. Outside organization request, Hope Partners requested $40,000 over their current funding levels. This budget includes $20,000 above their current funding levels. Expenditures by object. I've also separated the budget by object, which includes salaries, benefits, supplies, equipment, contractual, and utilities. The increases/decreases for each object are shown on the screen. The recommended total general fund appropriation is $37,458,588, an increase of $1,017,428, or 2.79% above current expenditures. Debt service. The debt group of accounts includes appropriation to make principal and interest payments to the town's long-term debt obligations. The total amount recommended for fiscal year 26-27 is $13,985,252, an increase of $268,981, or 1.96%. These funds will pay for a lease financing obligation, Clean Water Fund loan repayment, and the principal and interest due on the town's existing bonded debt. Funds are also included for an interest payment on a debt issuance plan for later in 2026. The debt proceeds will be used to pay the expenses associated with the building of the new Farmington High School, the renovation of the 900 wing to the Board of Education offices, replacement of the HVAC systems at the police facility, senior center, and highway garage, and renovations to the 1928 Town Hall building. Special services. The refuse collection budget includes the cost of collecting and disposing of solid, bulky, and hazardous waste generated by town residents and the town's landfill obligation. The budget proposes a 4.9% or $13.20 increase to the user fee. The annual fee will be $281.20 per household. General fund cash appropriation for the capital budget. The town's capital improvement policy and the town's strategic plan were the policy guidelines that were at the forefront when formulating the CIP. The proposed general fund appropriation to support the first year of the capital improvement plan is $3,852,000. I'm also recommending 3 bond questions. To summarize these general fund appropriations, $1,150,000 of funds would be allocated to the Board of Education as presented by the Board of Education. $2,702,000 of these funds would be allocated to the town, which are shown on the screen, for a total general fund allocation of $3,852,000. Other funding. The capital projects shown on the screen are being funded by other funding sources and not through the general fund or taxpayer dollars. These funding sources include donations, state dollars, and user fees totaling $215,000. LoCIP funding. The capital projects shown on the screen are being funded by the State of Connecticut Local Capital Improvement Program, LoCIP, grant, and not through general fund or taxpayer dollars, totaling $290,000. Bonding. Excuse me. My recommended bonding for fiscal year 26-27 totals $27,839,152. This includes $14,339,152 for the Board of Education's K-4 HVAC projects. It is anticipated that the town will receive 31.79% reimbursement from the state of Connecticut. $4 million in road reconstruction, $7 million for the town hall annex improvements, $3 million for the design replacement of the HVAC system, and $4 million for the renovation to the town hall annex Staple House to accommodate new offices. At the February 24, 26 capital budget presentation, the town council discussed this bonding question and asked for potential alternatives related to the renovation portion of the project. It is my understanding that the town council supports the renovation of the town hall annex, but as requested, I've reviewed a phased approach to the renovation component of the project. A few important considerations. It is unlikely that the town hall annex could be occupied for anything other than storage in its current condition. Renovations are necessary given the town offices have remained in the same configuration for approximately 40 years without significant updates. In addition, during the relocation process, large built-in furniture items including engineering, assessor, and town clerk file cabinets were removed, which required demolition of counters and portions of flooring. This has left areas of the building in various states of disrepair with uneven and damaged flooring that present safety concerns for residents. Wall-mounted cabinets and fixtures were also removed, resulting in chipped paint and wall damage that will require patching and refinishing. The Staples House is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. As a result, renovation work will require federal, state, and local review and approvals. However, its historic designation may make the project eligible for grant funding to help offset renovation cost. If the council wishes to phase the renovation over a 5-year period, an annual cash appropriation of approximately $1 million would be required, not accounting for construction cost escalation. For context, projects exceeding $500,000 are typically financed through bonding. One option would be to only bond for the replacement of the HVAC system at the Town Hall Annex at an estimated cost of $3 million, and to include a cash appropriation in this year's capital budget to complete the renovation design and obtain more definite cost estimates on that portion of the project. The HVAC project could move forward and be completed prior to the organizations relocating to the Town Hall Annex. In the fiscal year 27-28 budget cycle, the town council could then determine whether to bond the project to complete the renovations in full or to begin funding a phased renovation approach. Water pollution control budget. The Water Pollution Control Authority will hold a public hearing on its budget on March 11, 2026 at 7 p.m. in person. The budget shows a 3% increase per residential and commercial sewer user fees. There is no increase in the residential connection fees. Expenditure summary. The total recommended budget for fiscal year 26-27 is $142,579,394, an increase of $5,813,962, or 4.25% above the current budget. I will now call on the Superintendent of Schools to present the Board of Education's budget.
Good evening, members of the Farmington Town Council and members of the Farmington community. This evening, I present to you the 2026-2027 Board of Education's recommended budget. I'll begin with our mission statement, which speaks to the commitment we make as a school district and community to enable all students to achieve academic and personal excellence. Just as a strong financial portfolio requires a clear strategy, the budget development process is guided by our district's vision of a global citizen and supports our core beliefs, theory of action, equity framework for teaching and learning, and the Board of Education's visionary goals and priorities. Together, this framework acts as our investment thesis, ensuring every dollar spent is strategically allocated and moving us ever closer to our goal of developing true global citizens who are engaged collaborators, empowered learners, and disciplined thinkers. The dividends realized by our community's past investments are evident in the exceptional performance of our students and are highlighted on these next few slides. Farmington continues to experience market-leading returns and is a model of excellence in education, both here in Connecticut and beyond. Our academic success includes data points like 85% of all AP exams being a 3 or higher, our students achieving top rankings in national math, Science Bowl, and Science Olympiad competitions, and U.S. News and World Report consistently ranking Farmington High School in the top 5% of all high schools. Farmington also remains a front runner in innovation, as you see represented here, with achievements such as our economics team qualifying as one of only 8 national finalists, our 8th graders successfully raising and releasing salmon into the Farmington River, and our middle school's medical moment learning experience, which received the Connecticut Association of Schools Educational Citizenship Award. Finally, Farmington takes a holistic approach to excellence in education as well. Our student athletes find success on the field, with over 20 Farmington athletic programs qualifying this past year for state tournaments, securing 5 conference championships and 2 state titles. Our student artists excel as well, and the district's music department was recently recognized as one of the NAM Foundation's best communities for music education. With these guiding principles in place and our goal for continued success, our budget development process unfolded. Our team worked through the process of establishing priorities, building from the ground up or zero-based budgeting, then considering the proposals we received and making refinements. This resulted in a reduction from those initial proposals of roughly $1,187,410 or 5.9%. Through the process, we explored cost-saving strategies and met numerous times to review and revise again. To sustain high returns, this year's budget targets specific growth areas and demonstrates a responsiveness to student needs and enhances high-quality teaching and learning practices across the district. The major drivers for the 26-27 operating budget can be summarized as shifts. In student services, we continue to respond to the evolving needs of our students through strategic shifts in staffing, programming, and services. Furthermore, these proposals align with this year's legislative recommendations for special education. I will highlight the exact recommendations for shifts when reviewing the 100 series of this budget. To appropriately fund our self-insurance policy and remain responsive to evolving medical trends, a 9.42% increase in health care benefits funding is recommended. Inflation costs impact every organization's budget. However, we continue to see cost increases well above 3% through supply lines, equipment, and services. The shifts made in this budget allow us to strengthen learning environments and maintain program quality despite rising costs. Our people here in Farmington are our greatest assets. The budget supports contractual increases while retaining our high-quality educators. It represents responsive staffing shifts linked to fluctuations in enrollment at certain grade levels and changes in student needs and required services. And finally, in technology, hardware and license costs continue to increase. This budget continues to ensure that our district has the capacity, infrastructure, software, and equipment necessary to meet the academic and business needs of a highly competitive K-12 school district. In addition to these major drivers, this budget maintains and advances academic excellence through innovative programming, promotes continuous improvement, supports contractual increases, supports increased student needs and the support required, addresses significant cost increases in certain goods and services, addresses continued state and federal legislative mandates, and maintains class size in accordance with the Board of Ed policy. To contain costs, our team worked to replace expensive external contracts with internal professional positions, negotiated a long-term low fixed rate contract for the supply of electricity, and leveraged federal E-rate programs. Finally, here we see the total proposed Farmington School District budget of $86,858,554, representing a $3,617,571 or 4.35% increase over the previous year. Presented here is a high-level overview of each series found in the overall operating budget. This overview represents the changes from last year to this year's recommendations within each series. Farmington remains a high-level, high-value investment relative to the market. We rank 131st out of 166 districts in pure pupil expenditure, spending $2,068 less per pupil than the state average. This demonstrates our ability to deliver top-tier results with exceptional fiscal discipline. Next, I will share an overview of each series found within our 26-27 recommended operating budget. The first budget driver is salaries, the 100 series, an overall recommended increase of roughly 4%. The 100 series accounts for 66% of our total budget and reflects negotiated contract obligations for all Farmington Public School staff. Shown here is an overview of one of the major drivers and the shifts in staffing we are recommending for the coming school year. These shifts represent movements based on enrollment changes and continued need to boost support to our Special Services Department. These shifts include a reduction of roughly 7 positions at the elementary level based on current enrollment projections, and the addition of a supervisor for special services to boost leadership within that department, as well as the addition of a care team member who is a certified teacher that specializes in behavioral and mental health support for our students. This addition will also meet a new state statute requiring school districts to provide job-embedded coaching and support for special services staff members. And finally, the addition of part-time speech and language pathologists and school psychologists to respond to the growing need for services within these areas. It's important to note these are not new positions. This is additional time for existing positions within our current staffing. Overall, these changes lead to a total reduction of 4.3 certified staff members for the 26-27 school year. Moving on, we see our non-certified staffing shifts. As mentioned earlier, a goal for our Special Services Department is to move away from contracting staff from outside agencies to hiring our own FPS employees. These moves, though cost neutral, should help ensure less variability in long-term costs while improving consistency and quality of services for our students. The next budget driver is the 200 series, or employee health benefits. The 200 series accounts for 15% of our overall budget request. This account covers 100% of expected paid claims, administrative costs, and employee life insurance. The 9.59% increase is driven by overall trends and derived from recommendations made by One Digital, our insurance broker. Services is the next budget driver. This series accounts for 16% of the total budget requests and includes an overall increase of 1.28%. This account reflects contractual obligations in transportation, electricity, special services, consultation, and tuition costs for our outplaced students. Also covered within this series are major facility projects, summer school programming, professional development costs, and technology software systems. The 400 series, or supplies, accounts for roughly 3% of the overall budget request. The 2.42% recommended increase covers all instructional materials necessary to support the curriculum, as well as the supplies utilized by our maintenance and custodial staff. Finally, this account provides for facilities rentals for programs like swimming and ice hockey. The 500 series or equipment represents roughly 1% of our overall budget requests. This account provides for both facility and technology equipment requests. The 16.6% increase is primarily driven by the rising costs of technology hardware, such as the Chromebooks, which are a part of our life cycle management process. And finally, the 600 series, which also accounts for less than 1% of our total budget requests. This series provides for memberships for professional organizations that support staff, school, and district improvement efforts. The 600 series also includes the Town of Farmington's negotiated liability, umbrella, and motor vehicle insurance for the district. You will notice an overall reduction of 3.5% actually, thanks to a savings of roughly $15,000 for insurance coverage. Here, we see a final view of the Board of Education's recommended budget by series for the 2026-2027 school year. Next, I will provide a review of our capital budget requests for the coming year. Capital budget was presented in detail to the Town Council during their February 24th meeting. The Board of Education's recommended capital improvement budget of $1,150,000 with an additional request of $14,339,152 bonded for HVAC projects at our 4 elementary schools. The capital improvement budget process is developed to address both short and long-term projects that help us to maintain and improve our facilities and operations. Recommendations for the capital plan come from our K-8 facilities review, feedback from our schools and head custodians, our 10-year security audit, our district's health hazard, safety, and security plan, and the Tools for Schools report. This slide provides a more detailed view of the proposed HVAC projects for each elementary school, as was mentioned earlier. These costs assume a multi-year phase-in. Discussions have been ongoing, however, regarding potential cost savings should the district move forward with the multiple projects in one fiscal year. This final slide shows the capital improvement project plan over a 7-year period. In summary, the 2026-2027 Farmington Board of Education recommended budget shifts staffing resources and adds leadership to a department that continues to experience an increase in complex cases and a need for more comprehensive programming and support. It retains current programming, pre-K-12, maintains class size within BOE policy, Board of Ed policy, but most importantly, continues to provide market-leading returns for the investment made by the Farmington community. In closing, and on behalf of the entire Farmington Board of Education, as well as our school community, I thank you for your attention this evening and your thoughtful review of our recommended 26-27 budget. I will now turn the presentation back to our town manager, Kathy Blonsky. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. The grand list. The grand list is broken down into three categories: real estate, personal property, and motor vehicles. The real estate account shows a 1.31% increase. The personal property account shows a 4.49% increase, and the motor vehicles account shows a 4.99% increase. In summary, the grand list increased by 1.75%, or $79,495,840, for a total grand list of $4,614,312,982. Some items to note on the grand list. Real estate. The increase of the net taxable real estate is from apartment construction and development, residential development, and medical office construction. Personal property. The growth in personal property was mainly from utilities and commercial businesses. Revenues by category. I've broken down revenues into 9 categories: other property taxes, license and permits, fines and penalties, interest, grants, service charges, other, Westwood's contribution, and fund balance. In summary, recommended non-tax revenues are $16,895,974, or a 2.88% decrease over the current year. Some pieces of information to note. State and federal grants have increased from last year. Based on the governor's budget, the town is projected to receive an additional $205,722 in state and federal grants. The Westwoods contribution account includes a $325,000 contribution from the Westwoods Golf Course to the operating budget to help support golf course maintenance expenses. Interest income is projected to be lower by $440,000, or 31.65%. I am recommending that the town appropriate $400,000 from fund balance. Recommended tax and mill rate. The recommended general fund budget will require a property tax rate of 27.50 mils, which is an increase of 0.88 mils. In other words, $100,000 of assessed value equals $2,750 in taxes. Shown on the screen is the cost for the average homeowner with a house assessed at $301,455. Based on a tax rate of 27.50 mils, the average residential assessment will see an increase of $265.15 in their real estate. Thank you. The budget schedule is on the screen, and my staff and I stand ready to assist the town council in your deliberations during our budget workshops. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kathy. All right. Thank you for everyone giving their presentation. It is now time to open up to the public for public comment on this particular public hearing. There will be time for other public comment on other issues. We're just going to talk about the budget right now that's been presented. So anyone who would like to come up and make a comment, you have 5 minutes. Please state your name and your address. And if it's just about the budget, okay, come on up.
I actually don't have very many questions. I have, and maybe
Name
it's
and
my
address,
ignorance
please,
more than anything
before
else.
we
I'm
get
looking
started, Paul, name and address before we get started.
Your name and address.
at 365 Meadow Road.
Paul Krell.
Paul
Thank you.
Krell. Sorry.
That's all right. We got you.
Thank you.
Just for the
I should
record.
know this by now. On the mill rate going down, I'm a little confused. If the mill rate's going down, why would anything else be going up? With the, I mean, it's not a big increase per se, but I'm not quite sure. Usually when a mill rate, unless there's been a change in the amount of money that's been brought in.
It's the change in the mill rate that's going down.
Right.
The mill rate is actually still going up by 0.88%. Last year it went up by 1.17.
All right, so it's
There you
going up
go.
0.88.
The difference in the increase.
Got it.
is-
Okay, I understand that. Let me check my other questions that I put on here. Somewhere in here. All right, here's one. Ad hoc sidewalk committee, near and dear to me. The 30,000 to 35,000, did you say it was coming out of it or staying in?
It's not included in this budget,
It's not included?
not included.
So the survey, it's in here.
That was an item that the council wants to do. I did not put it in because of the budget target. So that's a recommended,
I apologize. You have to speak in there
Yeah.
more.
So-
I can't understand.
The sidewalk mailer, which is what that is, it's a survey, was something that town council, I believe 2 years ago, it was in our strategic plan, it's something we wanted to do as part of the sidewalk ad hoc committee. Town manager pulled that out of this budget due to the budgetary target, so she's trying to get it in a certain number. Now, there's still time in the next few days worth of deliberation, that could get back in,
So
especially if
this-
we get robust public
this,
comment.
so let me ask it a different way. This has nothing to do with the Meadow Road.
correct.
Correct.
All right, well, that takes care of part of my question. And it's anticipated that there would be something on a generalized basis going out at some point?
On sidewalks,
Well, sidewalk survey, associated marketing material, strategic plan, yes.
yes. On overall, the position would be that to survey the entire community on their position on various questions related to sidewalks.
All right. My only comment would be, I was led to believe during most of the year that it would be happening this year. And then after the elections, it turned out that it wasn't going to be. I'll leave it at that. I think there was one other question. Oh, it's a general question. Board of Ed? Who's Board of Ed person? Who's?
Right
Oh,
there.
the question is out of curiosity, is your student body going up or down?
Jesse, can you respond to the microphone? Because I know people have said that they have problems with the microphone.
I don't have a lot of questions. I just was curious.
Yes. Our enrollment looks to be about level for next school year, so it's not going up or down, it's staying just about flat.
Thanks, Jesse. All set? All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Krill. Would anyone else like to speak? Welcome.
Good evening. My name is Adam Avery, 9 Cider Mill Road in Burlington.
Welcome, Adam.
Yes, thank you. I'm here on behalf of the board of Hope Partners of Farmington. I'm the treasurer of the board. Firstly, I just want to sincerely thank Town Manager Kathy Blonsky and the members of the Town Council for your continued support of our organization. Your partnership is the reason that we're able to provide vital services to individuals in our community and who really need them the most. Your commitment to financial support and use of town amenities is invaluable, and we're deeply grateful for that. Over the past fiscal year, however, our Hope Partners operate at a loss of $40,000. To sustain operations, we're required to withdraw $25,000 from our reserve funds, something we've had to do every year for the past few years. If this pattern continues, our reserves will be depleted within the next 3 years. This trajectory presents a significant risk to the future of our organizations and the residents who rely on us. I do want to highlight some progress we've made. Over the last 3 years, our efforts to strengthen our financial outlook has seen a reduction in our deficit by half. We've revamped our medical loan program, so that has given us an annual increase of about $20,000. We've expanded our fundraising initiatives, so we created Hope's Heroes event last year in an effort to boost our fundraising. We've enhanced our outreach efforts, so this has helped to lead to more donations. And we've expanded our board responsibilities and board committees to have a targeted strategic approach in appropriate areas to drive revenue growth. Despite this, the reality is that fundraising demands are increasing. It's shifting time and resources away from our core mission, which is providing direct services to our residents. This brings to our request tonight. We're truly grateful for the proposed increase of $20,000, and respectfully, we stand by the increase of 40,000. This would bring our total annual contribution in support of $76,000. This would allow for Hope Partners to provide more consistent and effective services to our residents and greatly reduce the risk of the organization being forced to scale back or worse, cease operations. In closing, just want to reiterate, your appreciation and commitment. Together, we're fulfilling our mission, which is helping others prosper every day. Thank you for your time, support, and thanks.
Thank you, Adam.
You can introduce Yago too. Okay, you have to state your name and your address.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Barbara Blajewski, or Blewski, whichever you want to say. Blejewski. I live at the senior housing at Hunters Ridge, 26 Hunters Ridge, and I have an apartment there. I rent an apartment there. I've been back in Farmington since about 6 years. And when I was a youngster, I went to Oak Hill School for the Blind in Hartford. And I always wanted to be like my brothers and sisters and go to high school, go to school here. But at that time, my parents were a little concerned about different things, and they wanted me to get my Braille skills and all the skills I would need so that I could function in the world. And there are a few things that are a little bit hard to do by myself, like going shopping, and that's where Hope Partners comes in, and my volunteer who helps me is Dean DeLatch. He's awesome, and I have my list and of things I know I want to get, and I have it in Braille, and I share it with him. I've got to get my computer in gear so that it speaks what's on the screen and is functioning right. Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't, so I have to have my brother-in-law who's computer savvy to help me with that kind of stuff. Another thing maybe Hope Partners can maybe assist with is going when I have to go clothes shopping. If I went by myself, probably God only knows what I'd come back with, because the salespeople would probably say, "Hey, this looks great on you." That would not work so well. But that's something that if a volunteer helped with that would be an awesome thing. And another area, and I don't know how to bring this up, but when I go to cross streets, lots of times it's a little bit scary because you never know what's going to happen. So Yago's getting older, and I'm probably going to be getting another seeing eye dog within the next few years, a year or two, I guess. But I need to know that it's safe for me to cross streets and so forth, and that people, especially when people are driving, that when the light's green for me, that they don't cut in front of me. I've had that happen. It's kind of a unique thing. But I would like to be able to do more things like I used to do when I lived in Wethersfield, and so that I could do them independently and function like other people, and not have to worry that I was going to get hit by a car or a car cutting in front of me. And I don't know if that's something that I can work with the appropriate departments on, but that's the more I can do by myself, the better it is, and the better it is for Hope Partners because that means functioning more independently, and I can work with them when I need to, like for grocery shopping, and maybe the other issue with clothes possibly, or a few other things that will come to mind in day-to-day traveling and functioning. And I could say, oh man, I could use some assistance with this. Then I could bounce the idea off people who might be volunteering for Hope Partners. And I would like to, well, thank you for the opportunity to just explain a little about my situation and how Hope Partners helps me.
Thank you, Barbara. And Barbara, just so you know, your stylist is doing a nice job. Would anyone else in chambers like to make a comment?
Hi, everybody in town council, chairman, and people in the audience. That's right, I forgot she was shorter than I. My name is Patricia Delaney. I live in 7 Florence Way. And I'm here to speak on behalf of the senior center. I was noticing tonight as we opened up, looking at all of the charts and all of the lines and all the monies attributed to each line, the line that seems to be missing from all of those charts is the line that shows us the senior center, where we are lobbed in with a few other things. And so when you take a minute to look at us, you have to really understand that we're not part of a line, we're separate. And so my purpose in coming tonight is to ask you to take a look at this 26-27 budget and look at us as a separate line and how we operate and what we do and how we raise our monies and where we get our monies from. So I'd like you to ask us to not forget us just because you can't see us. So let me give you a peek into the senior center. 800 to 1,000 people come through our senior center weekly. 250 people per day visit the senior center. 1,000 of the people that are registered. And why is that a different number, you might ask me? But that's because the people are taking advantage of our emails, our newsletters, and dropping into the senior center at different times for specific programs. So that's the difference that you see in that. My thought to you again is don't forget us. This is a lot of people we're talking about. The senior center provides tax appointments for all of our seniors. It facilitated over 300 appointments. It has support groups that are available to low vision, Parkinson, and grief groups. We have monthly memory screenings, hearing screenings, foot care clinics. We have choice counseling that serves more than 60 individuals during open enrollment and more throughout the year. A socialization group, weekly education seminars, 12 fitness classes, and they're full. Parkinson boxing classes, and that is the big hit. If you go in and watch them, it's a wonderful thing to see. We have fitness and wellness center with over 75 members registered. Dial-a-ride, including medical appointments for dialysis, cancer treatments, and more. We have social service appointments, banks, taking people to the bank, to the hairdresser, to the library, and etc. We have monthly senior center trips. We also have a huge volunteer group, and that's probably the best bang for your buck that we've got going for us to share with you. Our volunteers help us with games and activities, rides, Office work staff handles the phones and counting and attendance and more, all on a volunteer basis. So again, my request is, don't forget us, even though you don't see us on the budget. And I'd like to take a minute, if I may, to share a personal story, which isn't unique to just me, but to many of the people in the senior center. Before my husband was entered into palliative care and hospice care, I would pack a lunch for him. He would get into a dial-a-ride bus and travel to the senior center. He would play Rummy Cube, he would play chess, he would play all the card games that were available, he would play billiards, and he would visit the puzzle spot located in the center. The socialization and cognitive challenge that the senior center gave to him prolonged his life. I have to tell you, we had 5 more years than we probably should have had. And then as a widow, I faced the challenge of moving forward. How do I do that? Where do I go? Do I lock myself in my house? Where do I stay? Attending exercise classes, facilitating our book club, facilitating our current events group, brought me great joy. And don't forget the great movies that we see there, that they bring up for us. Gathering spots, places to challenge each other, to talk with each other, to be with each other. This is only one story from the thousands of the seniors that I'm listed that are coming through that center. So, again, don't forget us, even though you don't see us. Even though you don't see us in those charts, we are here. Please, again, don't forget us.
Barbara, thank you for coming tonight. And we see you. Thank you for being here.
Thanks.
Oh, Patricia, sorry. Patricia. Barbara was.
I've been called worse. You're the one that
Tim Kelly, 62 Westwood. I know you can see me. Okay, I want to comment on a couple major capital outlays in this budget that are clearly nice to have versus need to have. When I first saw the rental project request for this now Old Town Hall, I thought it was a typo, that it was 700,000 as opposed to 7 million. I mean, for $7 million, you could basically build a whole new building. Heck, it would be cheaper to knock it down and put in a cricket field. I mean, we'd save the maintenance and, other budgetary upkeep items. Since we decided to spend $17 million and move all the critical town operations over to the newly renovated 1928 building, the old annex is really just being offered as additional office space and storage for some of our valued nonprofits. Hope Partners is currently housed at the Senior Center, which makes sense because that's who they serve. I'm not sure why they want to move across the river, although certainly everybody likes more space. The food pantry has a home at the church. The museum has an existing facility in Unionville. The probate court could actually be housed elsewhere given the amount of vacant office space on the market. Then there's the artist to be named later. I don't know. Look, I'm okay with keeping this annex and certainly the Staples House to help folks out, but not for $7 million. The other large bonding program that sounds nice but is not needed is to invest $15 million to install additional air conditioning into the 4 grammar schools. Today, I believe they all have AC in the offices and cafeteria. The plan to try to embed AC into all the classrooms and buildings that are 60, 80, 100 years old and never designed for it can inevitably yield uneven results at best. And cutting into these old facilities can open up a can of worms. Since Farmington Schools struggles with controlling annual operating costs, Has anyone calculated what it will cost per year in electricity to run AC across the 4 schools? Here in New England, we just don't get that many truly hot days in September and May. Everybody in this room, whether you attended Farmington or schools in a state further south of here, seems to have survived without AC in the elementary level. Anyway, I look back at the number of school days when the temperature in Farmington rose above 82 degrees, which I think is the state guideline, although there's no hard regulation. In September of 2025, it was 0 days. In May of 2025, 0 days. In fact, no days even touched 80 degrees. In September of 2024, 2 days. In May of 2024, 2 days. So we're always going to have a couple months, and in there maybe a day or two that gets a little too hot, but certainly not unmanageable. Kids are actually leaving school by the time the afternoon heat is peaking, and on the occasional oppressive day, Farmington schools can always do early dismissal. It's also worth noting that kids go to school in shorts and t-shirts in warm weather. School buses are not air conditioned anyway when you load them out at the end of the day. Kids will walk and ride bikes out in the heat. Then they go home, and of course we send them out to play hoops, go to soccer practice, go to baseball, or perhaps lacrosse out in the sun. But maybe the biggest issue is that Farmington leadership is going to kick off a comprehensive facility study in the next year or two. We should see where that takes us before we try to retrofit these old buildings. Look, the engineering design work that's been done is great, so don't throw it away. Put it on the shelf, and we can always use it in the future if we decide to. I would close by saying that we are already exceeding our town debt service policy based on currently bonded projects. To pile another $20 million on top of that would not make sense for Farmington at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Is there anyone else in chambers who would like to make a comment? Seeing none, Kat, do we have anybody online who would like to make a comment?
I don't see any hands raised.
Going once? Twice? All right, let's close public comment on the budget. Thank you very much, everyone, for your comments. Next, we have the reading of the minutes. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yep. Now it's time for regular public comment. Would anyone like to make a comment on any other item other than the budget?
I'm not quite sure how to do this, but I think maybe I'll try to come from a different direction. Paul Krell, Meadow Road. I've been hanging out with the sidewalk committee folks, and I've been concerned about what's going on, but I don't think I've ever gone so far as to say why I was concerned. I'm the grandson of John and Anna Krell. They came from the Ukraine, settled here, 9 kids, and my dad and my Uncle Peter were the ones who pretty much ran the operation with my grandfather. My other uncles and aunts would show up too, they did stuff. But back then, daycare was bringing your kid to work. So my dad would work at night in Marlin Rockwell, and in the day he worked on the farm, 114-acre farm. So we went along. So we were there 6 days a week. We got to pick the weeds out of because we were probably in 4th grade or 3rd grade at the time, pick the weeds out of the cabbage patch with, 300 feet long and 12 rows wide. That wasn't fun. Pick the strawberries. My job in particular ended up being running the stand. So you were all too young to have seen me selling corn at the stand. But the stand was about the size of that desk over there. We had a little awning, so when it rained. And so for 4 or 5 years, I worked there. I guess I'm trying to give the impression I know more about farming than you think. I used to ride my bike down Meadow Road to go fishing in the well, what's now the dump. They had big bass in the sand pit there. And so my dad, when my grandparents died, he and my uncle inherited it. My dad got his 1/9 because he didn't have the five. They each could split it of the 9, and they paid their money, and you wouldn't believe it. It was $300. It was only $300,000 for the whole farm. It's hard to believe. Of course, this was back in 1960 something. So my dad took the opposite side of the farm, which is where we're putting the sidewalk. And my brother and I went to college. My dad ended up with a piece of land that needed to be cleared. He cleared everything. He knew how to rebuild things. He rebuilt a bulldozer. And he did all this work. And then they asked me, "You want to buy our house? Because we need some money so we can build a house there." So I said, "Okay, I'll do that." So they built the house. They put in 250 blueberry bushes. And he planted everything. He was one of the best gardeners in the town. And my brother and I, that's how we interacted with our parents. We spent time on the farm. So, too many times I get listed as being an out-of-towner who owns land in Farmington. Well, I've been around, and I'm a long-termer. The street is filled up with people. On the other side, it's been developed. On my side, it's still pretty much farmland. I commented earlier, check my time, about the issue of surveying the folks on our street, which up until August, you guys up there that were involved with the sidewalk were in favor of. And then I was told that by the office, not that if we want to wait until after the election because they didn't want to become political. Now, if you think about it, it is political. It's really what it comes down to. After the election, I didn't hear about anything, and all of a sudden it disappeared. And the next thing I heard, we're going to have that hearing on whatever it is, the 30th of April. So there's a big gap between the two. I had hoped that we were going to get something to be able to do. We didn't. And so now here we are. I mean, we're fighting not to have it on our side. I've gotten together with some of the other folks, including the Heinz folks, had some discussions of what their thoughts were. I still think that you guys should just put a new committee together of the people on the street and come up with a new plan. And I think I'm going to just close there because you're going to see me again somewhere along the way. I probably won't give you the long spiel about my not being an outsider, but I don't think it's fair. The money that was moved aside, I had expected we were going to do something on Meadow Road. The recent training session, nothing on Meadow Road. My brother went. My brother asked the question.
We're actually past 5 minutes, just to let you know.
Oh, sorry.
No, I know we'll be hearing from you, and thank you for coming for comment. I appreciate
No problem. You'll hear the rest of it the next time.
Okay.
Anyway, you already heard it when my brother was at your meeting.
We'll hear it again.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to make public comment on any other item in town? Seeing no one in the chambers, do we have anyone online who would like to make a comment, Kat?
No hands raised online.
All right, well then we will close our general public comment. So thank you everyone for sharing your thoughts. We'll move on to G, the reading of the minutes.
I make a motion to approve the February 10th, 2026 regular town council meeting minutes.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor of the February 10th minutes?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously.
I make a motion to approve the February 24th, 2026 regular town council meeting minutes.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of approval?
Aye.
Opposed? All passes unanimously. Thank you very much. There is no report of the town manager this evening. I don't believe we have any unfinished business. So we'll move on to new business to set our public hearing.
I make a motion to set a public hearing on Monday, April 6, 2026 at 7 p.m. in the Town Hall Annex, Council Chambers, 1 Monteith Drive, Farmington, Connecticut, 06032, on the Town Council's proposed budget for the fiscal year 2026-2027.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you. Second item, to accept the annual report.
I make a motion that we accept the annual report of July 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2025.
Second.
Any discussion? Oh, so you kept.
That's okay.
Go ahead.
So this is the annual report for the town of Farmington for a previous year. So it's July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2025. And this will be submitted at the annual town meeting on April 20th for approval. I just encourage any resident or anyone to read it. It's a ton of information in it. So I just encourage anyone, there's copies in my office and we'll have copies at the annual meeting, but it does have a lot of information about the town of Farmington.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Our third item,
I make a motion to approve the property tax refunds shown on agenda item J3.
Second.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you very much. I don't believe there are any appointments this evening. So, and I don't believe we have any executive session.
No.
All right, let's move on to the reports of the committees. The 1928 Building Committee.
The 1928 Building Committee had a meeting in February, and obviously the move took place. There was updates on the move. There was updates as far as the finishing the project. The project's kind of at the last stages of construction. Obviously, the weather impacted certain parts of the exterior of the building and site work to be finished. But as the weather gets warmer, as it is today, that should occur. There was obviously the normal review of invoices and requisitions for payment, and closing in on the finishing of that project.
Wonderful, thank you. Ad hoc Fire Station Committee.
The Ad hoc Fire Station Committee, our last meeting, February 20th, we went and took a tour of 163 Church Avenue. That's the Bristol fire station that's just been completed. We met there. We talked with the chief and others who were part of getting that project up and running for Bristol. And we had Chris Nardi, the architect, who we've been working with on a tour, kind of answering questions. And I think it was just, a helpful visit to be able to see some of the spaces and where the bays are and how equipment basically sits in these bays properly with the necessary systems to support those types of activities. So our next meeting is this Friday, March 13th, where we will be gathering all that information and coming up with the charge.
Very good, thank you. Ad hoc Sidewalk Committee. I'll share that we held our Ad hoc Sidewalk Committee public information meeting on Thursday, February 19th at the police station. We had about 50 people in attendance, and we polled attendees on a number of questions for our discussion. We discussed the current town ordinances and what adjustments we might want to make. There was a majority of support for new sidewalks in town with the group in the room. Our next Ad hoc Sidewalk Committee is meeting on March 24th at 5:30 here in Chambers. And as a separate item, because it came up tonight, we'll be conducting a Meadow Road meeting after the town budget is finalized, and that date is going to be April 28th at 7 p.m. Avon and Farmington America 250th celebration. We did meet last week, or 2 weeks ago actually. The date for this event has been set for Friday, June 26th, with a rain date of Saturday, June 27th at 99 Thompson Road in Avon, Connecticut. And this is a combination of Avon and Farmington getting together to celebrate our 4th of July 250th year anniversary. We'll be meeting from 4 to 9:30, and an event a website is receiving finishing touches before we launch the site. And this site will eventually include all the activities and schedules for the events as we approach the event date, including fireworks, food, presentations, and more. It will also include information for sponsors and vendors. And if you would like to be a part of this two-town celebration, please go to the site and you can sign up to be a volunteer or a sponsor or a vendor. Be on the lookout for more details, and make sure you save the date and be the first to share this information with your friends. Okay, next we have the Board of Education.
No update at present. I mean, we're in the budget sessions, and they'll be here tomorrow, and we'll be going over things in greater detail. But it's basically budget season at this point. So.
Here we go.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Conservation and Inland Wetlands.
Conservation Inland Wetlands met February 18th and March 4th. Couple applications for an in-ground pool. There is a new proposed gas station that, where there's some wetlands in the back on Finneman Road. It's actually warehouse, gas station with diesel refueling station and restaurant is what has been proposed by Noble Gas. And that is still under consideration, I believe. And then there is also another proposed development at 598 Plainville Road for 18 housing units, and as due to potential wetland impacts. Wetland impacts, that is also before the commission. Their next meeting is March 18th, 2026, 7 p.m. on Zoom.
Good question. Where's 598 Plainville Ave? Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay.
No, I meant to look at it.
Okay.
I don't, but
No
I
worries.
forgot.
I'm trying to put you on the spot.
Yep.
I'll look it up. It's fine.
We're going to Google it.
Okay.
How about Economic Development Commission?
Our last meeting was canceled due to weather impacts, and so we'll have the next meeting, and I'll give the updates.
All right. How about Farmington High School Building Committee?
We met last week. The project is phasing down. It was decided that the building committee will effectively just defer now to the finance subcommittee for the approval of invoices, change orders, and things of that nature. The building committee itself will really not meet again until the finance committee does its work. What's going to happen is there's going to be conditional approvals as the finance committee meets, and then there'll be a meeting either May or June. I think, Kat, we weren't quite sure when that would be, but the target would be May or June. And at that point, the building committee will reconvene and then do a pro forma adoption of all of the work that's been done. That'll be done between now and then. And then it's my understanding the building committee will close its charge and be complete.
Wow.
And returning and bringing to the town a project that was on time and under budget. And so hopefully we should have a conversation about how we can recognize that here at the appropriate time. We should definitely do that. And the other thing is that we've been kind of talking about it a little off table and on table as well. There is the issue of there is still money left that is eligible to be bonded, and we talked about it during the bonding presentation. Our town manager did a great job kind of bring it forward to us for us to consider how to handle that extra money with respect to the track and the field project, and that'll come to us. And then we'll have an opportunity, I guess, subject to you, Brian and Kathy's work, either late summer, early fall, the conversation how we're going to bring that and do that in a way the town is aware of it in a transparent way, so the town knows what we're considering at that time.
Absolutely. Thank you. How about Town Planning and Zoning?
Certainly. The late February meeting was canceled due to the snowstorm. At last night's meeting, there were a couple of routine sign approvals and 2 public hearings. One was for Miss Porter's School, which is planning a summer camp on 27th of June through July 3rd. The approval was to allow light standards with generators, so there's going to be a lot of light and some noise from the generators. They did receive about 20 letters of support from all over local residents in the community. Not a single negative one. So the approval was given for 1 year. We'll measure the noise and the lights, and then they'll come back in the following year to see whether that could be extended. The other public hearing was for Horton Electric, which has premises across from on New Britain Avenue, across from our Public Works garage. They want to pave some additional area and wanted some exception for impervious. In return, they did a very thorough presentation and are going to give the back area from their property to the river as a conservation easement because there's bald eagles there. There was a lot of discussion and work on the drainage, and they're going to allow us with our garage to be participate in that. So it was a win-win discussion and was fully approved. In terms of other things, the affordable housing report was presented. With all the projects that we have coming online, Farmington reached a 9.68%. So we're just shy of the 10% mark to be an exempt community. When the projects that we have, 1600 New Britain Avenue and 402 Farmington, Warren, when they come online, will certainly be, I think we were estimating about 10.3%. And then when 20 Scott Swamp Road. Wow, that's harder to say than I thought. When that comes online, we'll be bulletproof in terms of that margin, but we'll get to that next year. Lastly, preparations are getting underway to support the new plan of conservation and development. So some of the pre-work, like preparing the RFP and things like that, so that we can hit the ground running in the new fiscal year. That's it.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Are there any other reports or anything that you would like to share?
Yes, Brian. I just want to have everyone mark their calendar. Saturday, April 25th, 8 to 1, townwide cleanup. Sign Up Genius is showing up for groups who want to sign up. There'll be a heaviest haul competition like there is every year. And hopefully this year it won't rain. I was going to say the other event to mark on your calendar is April 21st. At 6:30 p.m. Green Efforts is hosting its first of what we hope will be a series of on how to reduce waste for residents and waste reduction. And it will be a presentation by a master gardener who's going to talk about composting and things folks can do to take organics out of their home trash. That's it. It'll be at the library.
Excellent. Thank
Brian,
you.
I have one too, sorry.
Please.
I do too.
It's a very makeshift one, but because we haven't had a liaison for the library because we had that in between you and I when we switched back and forth. The Maker Fair is coming up.
I was.
Is that what you're gonna say? So I'm gonna cede the floor to our library liaison, please, Nadine.
I always
take
wanted to
away.
be a librarian. So thank you, Keith, for handing that over to me. So yes, we had our meeting on February 18th. Jocelyn hosted the meeting. There is a new board member, Jessica Lister, that was appointed. So she's fantastic for anybody who knows her within the community. She was an excellent addition. Discussed around the challenges about maintenance of the library and through the seasons and the cold and whatnot. So I think some of that we see in our budget and the request. Additionally, staffing for a position who has retired was underway. Another area was around, they're no longer supporting the passport services and renewals. So I think that was revenue that was coming in that no longer is coming in. And then just reviewing results of the lending and their programming and their budget and how they maintain within their budget, which is great. And to highlight that on March the 22nd between 1 and 4, there is a Maker Fair at the library. So encourage all of our town members to please go into the library and take a look. It sounds like a really impressive event. And our next meeting is April the 15th.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, both of you.
Sorry, Nadine.
Nice job reading the
Didn't
room.
know if we made it there yet, like between our switch over.
All right, I'm going to move on to the town council chair report. I'll make it short. As is quite obvious, our current priority is to prepare and finalize a budget for the town. Just so you know, the budget public hearing will be April 6th at 7 p.m. The annual town hall will be April 20th at 7 p.m. and the referendum will be April 30th. And also, I've been meeting with our state legislators to stay updated on legislation being discussed at the state capitol and its potential impact on Farmington and our residents. So more to come on that. some upcoming community events in addition to the number that we've heard already, and there's lots coming up. The Farmington Community Chest is having their March Madness Mixer at the Farmington Polo Club on Friday, March 27th at 6. You can purchase your tickets online. It's a great organization. Also, the East Farms Volunteer Fire Department is having their 52nd annual pancake breakfast on Sunday, March 22nd, 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Firehouse at 94 South Road. Again, be on the lookout for information about the Avon Farmington 25th celebration on Friday, June 26th. Save the date and tell your friends, and I'll see you there. To find an extensive list of upcoming events in Farmington, check out the Explore Farmington website, and also, if you can, sign up for the Explore Farmington newsletter. Hope you all had a very successful spring forward. All right.
I make a motion to adjourn tonight's town council meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much, everybody. Good night.